Hello guys and welcome to this video. Before we start, I'd like to quickly apologise for me recording this in a replay, but unfortunately my OBS crashed and the footage became corrupted, so I had to go back and record it in a replay, so sorry. So to start off with here, I'm in my Chi-Nu 2, which is a premium rank 3 Japanese medium tank. However, it only has a battle rating of 3.7. However, this tank is godly, as you're going to see in this game. You have a 75mm cannon, which is comparable to the Russian 85mm. It has similar penetration and just a little bit less explosive filler. So the gun really is what makes this tank. You can go through anything you look at pretty much just ridiculous angles. Today we're on the Kuban map. Kuban? I don't know how you say it, but we're on this map, which is notorious for its hilly terrain, and I'm going to use this tank's amazing negative 10 degrees of gun depression to be looking over a ridgeline. I know it's not the most engaging gameplay, but I only spend a little while at this ridgeline. But this is one of the spots which I would really recommend. I only really found out about it in this game because I hardly ever play low tiers. But you have really good views onto where the enemy would be advancing, as long as you use your binoculars, and you can just pop up like that and put cheeky shots into people. And as you can see, this gun has amazing post-pen characteristics. It went straight through the front of that M10, albeit angled, and it exploded just in the crew compartment and was able to reach down and wipe out the driver and radio operator as well, which really just shows off the high amounts of explosive filler in this round. The APHE round, or the Type 1 APHE, is your stock round, but of course you're a premium tank, so you don't need to worry about stock grinds. It has 137mm of penetration at 10 meters, and has an explosive mass in TNT equivalent of 68 grams. Whereas the round which I am using, which is the Type 4 Cole, has 157mm of penetration at 10 meters, with an explosive filler in TNT equivalent of 80 grams. So you have much more penetration and much more post-pen damage. And as you can see in the gameplay behind my commentary, I suppose I'm on the screen, but I just got shot, took out 2 crew members, and my cannon breach, and I had a huge repair time in this battle. I remember I was very upset, but that is because I only have a level 1 crew. Let me just check what the reload time of this tank is. Okay, so this thing's reload time for a stock crew is 10 seconds, but I think you can get that down to around 7.5 or 8 with a completely aced crew. So, out of my bad, it has a stock reload of around 9.5 seconds. I didn't think it was quite double figures, but you're very near to being 10. The secondary weapon, which is your MG, is mounted on top of your turret and has a vertical guidance of -10 to -7 to +10 degrees. So you can sometimes use this to shoot down low flying planes. However, you only get very, very, very small clip sizes, so it will have to be in bursts. And of course, it is only a 30 cal, so you won't do that much damage. Really, I just use this machine gun for spotting tanks. And again, in this replay, I just pop up over this ridgeline and hammer the SMK in the turret. And because I was shot and had most of my crew taken out, I have a really long reload. But luckily, I was able to get a shot through his turret into his secondary crew compartment and take out the rest of his crew. The SMKs are a real pain in the arse to face unless you've got APHE filler in your rounds. So as you can see here, I am cresting over this ridgeline, and I'm able to do this quite quickly because of this thing's horsepower to ton ratio being 23 horsepower per every ton, which isn't half bad actually. It gets you up to a maximum speed of 43 kilometers an hour on perfect terrain. This tank has 5 crew members in it, 3 in the turret, 2 in the driver area. An important thing to note is there is a huge transmission just around the driver area, and look at this shot into the Sherman. Gorgeous. Gorgeous. As I was saying, the transmission is huge, and it will eat a lot of shells which are fired at you. And I'm really sorry about the anti-mech order that pops up on screen, but there's nothing I can do to get rid of it. It doesn't really affect the gameplay that much at all. So what was I saying? It has not very good armour, unfortunately. You have 50mm of hull armour at the front, 25 at the side, so you are penetratable by 50 calibers, which is just no good. But it is an important fact to note that you are quite a spongy tank, given that your crew are so spaced out and you have a relatively high amount of them, so you are very difficult to one-shot unless the enemy hits an ammo rack. I was a little bit of a bully there with that TO1 French tank. I just put a shot into its side and it implodes. So now I'm pushing up to capture the B point where I get shot at by an anti-aircraft vehicle. I fluff my shot up, which is no good because I know I can get penetrated by these things frontally. So I try to stay very wary of them. I think ultimately I just drive off and he drives off, go our separate ways, because anti-aircraft vehicles should be scared of you. You can hull break them, you can cause so much fragmentation with this relatively large caliber round compared to specifically the British armoured cars. You just tear through them. Unless sometimes you get an unlucky bounce, but that really is a 1 in a million chance. Maybe not quite a million, but you get the picture. At the moment in the battle, I'm driving up to the A point because it is still contested, and there are a couple of medium tanks which I've seen marked on a mini-map around the area. So I should have done a smart move and crested over this hill and checked for that tanks, but I just suitably rushed in because at this point in the game I had sort of realised that my OBS had stopped, so there wasn't really any point in trying to play it smart because I wanted to get into a plane and shoot down some of the planes which are in the air. However, the rest of my game turns out to be quite bloody good, so I keep it in, get a lovely long shot into the side of the British AA and take out both his turret crew members. It is quite important to remember that your fuse sensitivity is relatively high. Fuse sensitivity is 15mm with a delay of 1.3 meters, so if you're shooting very lightly armoured things with a turret, it can go wrong, fortunately. But most of the tanks you fight against, this won't affect, and you will have no problem just destroying them. By now I'd sort of thought to myself that the battle was over, as I hadn't really looked at the stat cards or the tab screen, I'm not sure the name of it, but I was going to tactically spawn push, well, not quite spawn camp, but I was going to sit in between their lower spawn and the C point to make sure we weren't back-capped, because that's never fun. However, I noticed that there were a lot of our tanks dying over by the A point, so I decided to... Oh, look at that awful traverse, but I decided to push up back to the A point and try and keep it safe, because I was top tier in this game, so I was fairly confident that I would be able to deal with the threats which were moving up to it. And I see the dead AA behind me. It gave me a mini heart attack in game and did again in the replay, but oh well. I see we have no tanks in between the B and A point or towards our upper spawn, so I'm thinking that's where the remaining enemy tanks have the highest likelihood of being. I can't remember what I do next in a battle, but ultimately I think I push up and see a Sherman in the distance and move up to intercept him, which should be happening any second now, he says. Oh, here we go. So I'm looking over by the C point, because I can see it's getting captured. A bit obvious, but hey-ho. And here I see the Sherman, just behind this ridge line, call in some artillery on the C point, and oh my god, I just didn't realise he would push. and I get a crap shot into his engine, which takes him out, sets him on fire, and I think he puts the fire out immediately instead of just rotating the turret. And since it is a M4A3, I think M4A3 105 has a very slow turret rotation speed, so I was able to get a second shot into the middle of his 2 crew compartments. Once I'd taken out the Sherman, I moved up to this area here, between the bunker and the rock, which is, if you don't know, one of the best spots in the map for camping. You can get direct views into the blue spawn, or well, the enemy spawn if you're on this side, and into the sea point. As you can see here, I get a shot into a Cromwell. Not really sure where it all goes. I think I just turn everything red inside his tank, which is, you know, yay me. But I'm a bit cheeky, push out again and get a shot straight through his upper frontal plate and annihilate him. Yay. So I considered going down here, and I was like, hell no, because one thing you've got to mind out for is because this tank's armour is so thin, you can sometimes kill yourself by falling off of heights. Done that a couple of times, it's not fun. Yeah, so here my friendly Puma drives across, and the people down by the sea point begin getting lighted up? They get lit up by an anti-aircraft truck. Well, not a truck, it's one of those British truck jeep things. The Crusaders? I don't know what they are. Not the Crusaders, the AA Car Mark II, I think that's its name. So here I can see my friendlies being shot at, and oh, it's a magical bullshit laser beam tank. Okay, got it. This is like the British whirlwind. It just needs to go. So unfortunately, there I misfire. Well, I don't misfire. I click my mouse button by accident and fire a shot, alert him of my position. So here I was just pushing up. I'd already had a 8 kill game, so I thought, fuck it, I might as well risk it for the double ace. But this thing doesn't have a stabilizer or a single plane stabilizer. So he pushes up over the ridge. I got what I thought would be a good shot into him, but you know, British teabag armour bounces, and he annihilates me from the front. And that's pretty much it for all this recording. So I'd like to ask you all to leave a like and subscribe if you're new to the channel. If you leave any comments down below, I will respond to them all, is what I was going to say. Completely forgot what I was going to say. But I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one. Peace out, guys.